recognizing that the young adult years can be tempting and confusing in many ways, I would like to very plainly address some of the ways the world tries to tempt people to break the law of chastity today. First, some thoughts to the young adult brethren. Love versus lust. Not only are they not the same, they are opposites. Love is selfless. Lust is selfish. Love is a beautiful, powerful, motivating force. Love can be the source of so much happiness, happiness that keeps on going. Lust is none of those things. Lust is a cheap fake. It destroys self-esteem and dulls people's ability to experience love. Lust leaves people feeling empty. Satan has invented a myth, you may have heard it, that it is a woman's job to make sure people remain chaste in a relationship because men cannot control themselves. This is absolutely false. Elder Holland taught to say that a young woman in such a relationship has to bear her responsibility and that of the young man too is one of the most inappropriate suggestions I can imagine. In most instances, if there is sexual transgression, I lay the burden squarely on the shoulders of the young man. This brings us to moral agency. We live in a day when it is popular to claim that people don't have moral agency. People wish to claim they couldn't help themselves. It's popular because, like Nehor, it tells people what they want to hear, not because it is true. The scriptures clearly teach that we have moral agency. 2 Nephi 2 teaches that men are free according to the flesh, free to choose liberty and eternal life, or to choose captivity and death. We were created to act, not to be acted upon. Satan is trying to play the same game he played in the premortal existence. He doesn't want you to have moral agency, so all the better for him if he can trick you into believing you don't. If that doesn't work, another way he'll attack your freedom is through addiction. Avoid pornography like the plague, like COVID-19. Imagine if the world put half the effort we saw against COVID-19 into fighting the far more destructive pandemic of pornography. Coronavirus can destroy the body, but pornography can shipwreck the soul. You risk not only throwing away your own happiness, but also that of the people who love you. Do not destroy your ability to love by buying into a cheap fake that can never make you happy. Sexual addiction is powerful and it is insatiable. It will always want more. It will create a monster that can never be satisfied, that can never be happy. President Oakes shared the following. A man who had been addicted to pornography and to hard drugs wrote me this comparison, quote, "In my eyes, cocaine doesn't hold a candle to this. I have done both. Quitting even the hardest drugs was nothing compared to trying to quit pornography," end of quote. If you are already trapped, get help now. Get spiritual help. Get family help. Get psychological help. Do it now. I hope that someday you will have the opportunity to be madly in love with and married to the woman of your dreams. That relationship will mean more to you than anything. It turns out, God knows what he's doing. He's actually quite brilliant. You see, when married, you're not going to have sex every single time you want to. Sometimes she just won't be up for it. You need to learn to tell your body no now, or your marriage will be miserable later. It is actually easier to tell your body no 100% of the time than it is to sometimes say yes and sometimes say no. To be clear, your sex drive is not evil. God intends for people to get married and for sex to be a beautiful and enriching part of that relationship. But marriage will not cure a sexual addiction. Rather, it will increase the suffering that comes from that addiction. Learn to bridle your passions now so that you can be the husband you want to be. Just once will hurt. Giving in once doesn't somehow satisfy an urge that will go away. No, it means the urge will come back even stronger next time. The longer you dwell on inappropriate sexual thoughts, the harder it will be to stop. The easiest time to stop is right at the beginning. If you are in a tempting situation, get up, go somewhere else, do something else. A man who lost his way for much of life and found hope and truth after wading through much sorrow I would not recommend to anyone, taught me this. It is much harder to say no to temptation the second time if you have given in the first time. And in the words of our prophet, President Nelson, we receive the following warning: never be the reason that a woman is unable to receive her temple blessings. It would be bad enough to show up at the judgment bar before our Redeemer and try to explain why we threw away our own eternal life. Heaven forbid we also have to explain why we dragged someone else down with us.